Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning from wherever you are. My name is Ralia Ali Hussein, the host of Ordinary Voices. With us today, we have few guests, Mr. Dennis and Mr. Imran. Our SDG of the month will be SDG number 16, that is all about promoting peaceful and inclusive societies while providing justice and social infrastructures. So welcome, and without further ado, I would like to give our guests opportunities to introduce themselves, who they are, what they do, and where they are from. So I'd like to start with you, Mr. Dennis. You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Lalia and your team for the invite. My name is Dennis Munane. I work with the Young African Leaders Forum as the Vice President in charge of programs and development, as well as other group that is called African Young Leadership Foundation, as the national president here in Kenya, where we work at the intersection of the SDGs and also at the intersection of the Africa we want goals as we look forward to the development of the continent through the energy of the young people. So thank you so much, Lalia.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dennis, and welcome to the session. I'm glad to hear that you are already involved in the work of SDGs and how to make our societies excel when it comes to development and so on and so forth. So I would like to give our second speaker and guest an opportunity to introduce himself and tell us all about his work and how he is involved currently with SDG work. Mr. Imran, you're welcome.
Thank you, moderator for the day, Ralia Ali. My name is Imran Mohammed. I'm the founder and executive director of Ergo International Peace Initiative, a non-governmental organization based here in Nairobi and operating in northern parts of Kenya. We promote positive peace and conflict resolution in pastoralist and cross-border communities in the Horn of Africa. We are a youth-led organization, and we implement quite a variety of the SDG goals, but our thematic area is around peace, justice, and strong institutions. So our programs are very much aligned with SDG 16, which is also our topic of discussion for today. I am also a peace builder, a youth leader, a certified mediator, peace and conflict practitioner, and thank you for having me today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Imran and Mr. Dennis. We really appreciate you honoring our invite and showing up for this discussion. I'd like to say that we are actually happy to have you as individuals who are guests today, and you are actually involved directly in the work, or your work is actually directly involved in the work of SDG 16, Peace, Justice, and Strong Institution. Normally what happens is that the aim of this goal is to promote peaceful and inclusive societies while promoting strong institutions. For instance, Mr. Imran mentioned Ergo International, that is the NGO he is leading, working directly with the community to promote peaceful coexistence, and it is actually youth-led, something that is very interesting, and it is working for community both at the national level, because I believe you said you are based in Nairobi, and at county levels when it comes to the work that you do in Garissa. We appreciate that, and we really welcome you for that. First and foremost, now to pose a question to both of you, and anyone can take an opportunity to answer this, is why do you think involvement of SDG 16 is important in every work that we do as far as community work is concerned. Yes, Mr. Dennis.
Okay. For the SDG 16, looking at the peaceful and the inclusive societies, I mean, for communities, it is well essential, not just looking at, because most of my work has been based on the larger continent, but looking within even our societies, our society is a social setting. So if we live in a conflict filled society, that means then the society is as well very divisive. There isn't much of the development that is going on there. And again, there's little or less that can be done also on the other SDGs when you look on the education and all such other manner of things. I mean, if, for example, I come from Meru County, some part of it has not been peaceful at the moment, especially the part that rears kettles, part of Gembe and Tigania. So, I mean, when you go there, I've been there sometime last year, and when you get to that setting of a society, you will find that at times even the small children do not go to school because of the conflicts that are within that community. So, I mean, for any development within a community, then it must be a peaceful community. Before even you go to ask whether it will be an inclusive society, then peace must be in it. That's my take.
Thank you, Mr. Dennis. I think we get an emphasis that peace is something that is essential for any form of development, be it in different sectors. It is something that is an ingredient that should actually added and adding value to all forms of development. Thank you, Mr. Dennis. Maybe I should put this across now to Mr. Imran. I'd like to know that because now SDG 16 emphasizes on the peace, justice, and strong institution, as we said. So from your perspective, how can ordinary citizens like either you, me, or any other person in the community uses their voices or any other thing that they can use as a tool to contribute and strengthen accountability and transparency that is required to promote peace, bring about justice, and also establish strong institution amongst our all-rounded institution? What's your take on that?
Thank you very much, Ralia, for that very important question. I've always made emphasis on the fact that ordinary citizens, or the citizenry for that matter, play a very critical role when it comes to nation building, state building, what you call patriotism in Kenya, for example. So even in the perspective of peace and prosperity, because those are two very important elements that go hand in hand, it is very important for the individual to contribute to this process. First of all, the individual has to be peaceful. The individual has to be pro-progress, so that the net effect of different components of individuals in a certain society contribute positively to the success and prosperity of that particular society. So therefore, it all comes down to the individual, the drivers of positive peace, or the root causes, part of the root causes of conflict or instability in that particular community. So the individual plays very, very critical role in the process of peace and prosperity. And there are so many ways they can take part in this process. First of all, they have to have ownership of their own social issues, whether they're having challenges, they're having specific needs in their communities. They really need to bring their first foot forward so that they show interest, they show the initiative to come and have those community dialogues we always have, contribute their ideas, share their lived experiences, and bring local solutions that work for them to the table whenever it comes to resolving some of these issues. So there are different entry points and ways where the individual can really be useful in this process. And part of it ideally is just having the interest and the heart to come and sit down with these people and have a discussion. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Imran. That is actually a well explained item. I like the fact that you put across that individual is at the center of this. The willingness of an individual to come out, participate, and actually be involved in peacekeeping activities, justice missions, as well as bringing about accountability that will result into strong institution. That is very well placed. And the fact that you said it is as per someone's willingness, someone taking this as a personal responsibility and coming out to influence that positively, and you be pro-peace and pro-development so that you be able to come out and participate meaningfully. I really appreciate that and congratulate you for that well-laid position. You also explained that there are various ways that an individual might be involved in, and I like the fact that being here as discussing these effects or these factors and everything that needs to contribute to peace, justice, and strong institution is coming from individuals using our ordinary voices to bring about influence and education, as well as creating awareness and sensitization on the same. I also want to give shout out to those of us who are joining us live and contributing and following this discussion online. Thank you, and you are all welcome. And in case you have any contribution that you have, you can drop it in the chats and in the comment section of the live session, and we'll be able to air it out with time. And if not, the time may not allow us, then we still tell you that we appreciate you and we like the fact that you are following and being at par with us. I know now I would like to bring back my attention to Mr. Dennis. One of the first encounters that you and I had as individuals is we met at a certain we met as youth delegates at one of the UN forums here in Nairobi. So I want to bring your thoughts back to UN reports when it comes to highlighting the fact that now on the SDG 16, that's what I'm looking at, talking about over 500 million children have gained legal identities, and through birth registration being the highest level. So why is legal identity important to achieve justice, inclusion, and equal access to opportunities? Maybe tell us, why is it important to even have that legal identity?
Okay. Just before I comment on that question, just want to give something to learn something on what Imran was responding to. I mean, from as an organizational point, as Young African Leaders Forum, YALF, as those ordinary members within our institution, we've been very keen on what has been happening in Sudan, and part of our members have been organizing just meetings in the house, not formal meetings where you go gatherings. We've been gathering through our reader there. We've been organizing house meetings to be able to educate the young, the youth there on the importance of peace and how to promote peace within that setting. And I can tell you, like Imran said, that citizenly wanting peace within their community is very important. Unfortunately, we've lost part of our young people there, even within the organization, but still the fight continues. And we haven't lost hope in as much as things haven't good, but we keep on promoting that by not being silent and keeping on going through that. Now, to the question on the legality of having a possession of identity, I mean, identity is really key on so many issues, because when assessing any social amendment or anything that goes or revolves around the welfare, the well-being of any person or any individual, the first thing that you will always be requesting for is your identity. And I mean, there's something which was done very good for our people in the northeastern part of the country, being allowed to be able to register for identities, for the birth certificate, and all those things, which is really key. If, for example, today you go to, let's say, around Laikipia, and you have a small child or a child that is due to sit for their KCSE this year, one of the key requirements will be the birth certificate. That means that person, for the person to be able to go to the next level, then the identification must be important, and that brings us to, I know it will bring us to so many other things like the refugee issues and all that. But I mean, for the parents and also for the people who are learning initiatives within our communities, it is very important that we educate our people on the importance of that, and why that is really key. I mean, when we were interacting at the UN on several issues, that reminds me on the something that we were preparing in 2023, 2024 on the Pact for the Future. And part of the two things that I was keen on contributing was Chapter 2 and Chapter 4. And Chapter 2 was on international peace and security, and then Chapter 4 was on the children, youth, and future generations. And that brings us to what you've really highlighted on, and it's just to put the emphasis. And for people like you, our institution, what you're doing right now by hosting such event needs to keep on going. Those people who are on the grassroots needs to keep on mobilizing that. They need our voices to be able to keep on doing that, and to be able to keep motivating them. And for us who are also doing these things on the social media, we need also not to keep silent on such matters. So, I mean, the key issue is for us to be able to keep on highlighting the importance of that, and to be able to tell our people the importance of their identities, if it's the birth certificate, the importance of it, the ID cards, the importance of it, and that will now move on to so many other issues that are really key or integral to the well-being of the society. But most importantly, the birth certificate and the ID is a must for everyone who really claims to be a citizen of any country.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dennis. I also got something out of that. First and foremost, legal identity, giving people opportunity to access even social amenities is what he mentioned. He gave an example of the need in accessing education, like in Kenya, for instance, and any other social amenities at different levels, different form of recognition when it comes of legal identity is required, and he really gave example. Also emphasize the fact that our voices should be used to educate people that this legal identity is crucial. Maybe one thing that I can add from my own point of view is that an individual having a legal identity and identifying himself or herself as as a citizen of a certain nation actually helps him or her to be out of that state of being stateless, that you are not able to access any form of opportunities or be discriminated or marginalized by design of not having that recognition by any city, any state. So thank you very much, Mr. Dennis, for that. Maybe now I would like to go to Mr. Imran with this question. Now I want to put to relate it to your work at Ergo. What you do apart from just promoting peace is more or less like becoming an independent sort of human rights institution, because peace and justice is part of the universal human rights that anybody is supposed to be accrued to. So maybe tell us, as an independent human rights institution, now speak as an Ergo person, not as Imran. Now tell us, have this grown over the years, maybe, and if it has, how important is it in your own opinion? Like, what roles do such institutions play in protecting vulnerable groups and promoting social justice? Now speak as an institution, represent Ergo when answering this.
Thank you very much. I always have a challenge speaking my mind when it comes to representing the organization, because I wear so many hats. Sometimes I speak for the youth, sometimes I'm a youth leader, sometimes I speak around social change issues and representing the organization in various capacities again. So thank you for putting me on the spot and channeling my contribution to representing the organization. I come from Mandera, and sharing my lived experiences and how human rights violations have happened across the northeastern region is quite telling. For example, when it comes to extrajudicial killings, forced abductions, government agencies abducting people who are suspected to be part of terror activities is quite enormous when it comes to the northern region. And as an organization, of course, we build peace, we promote positive peace, and an element of what we do is also around human rights protection. Therefore, organizations are very, very instrumental in championing for human rights and speaking against human rights violations, especially in marginalized and vulnerable communities such as where I come from in Mandera. Therefore, I think over the last few years, we have been really instrumental in speaking about the rights of the young people, the rights of women and children, and also generally the rights of humans. And for that matter, we have really brought in voices of the people, communities that were not heard before, and put pressure on the government's authorities, local authorities, to understand the implications of their actions, and that we are law-abiding citizens who know their rights and have various alternatives at their disposal when it comes to seeking alternative justice for the victims. So therefore, whatever we are doing right now as an organization might be limited due to the underserved population we are working for, the number of population we are serving, and the level of marginalization and difficulties in the areas where we operate in. But that is at least something. We have led the way, and so many other organizations are coming up, especially youth and women-led, who are speaking to these social issues, who are protecting lives, who are speaking for women and children, who are speaking for the persons with disabilities who cannot protect themselves. And there has been quite a number of successes to this effect. And yes, to answer your question earlier, organizations, whether in the civil society space or otherwise, are very, very crucial when it comes to championing the voices of the communities, protecting human rights, and also holding governments and other authorities accountable whenever they go and violate the rights of others. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Imran. That is actually explained in depth, and I like the fact that you mentioned some of the issues that different nations faces, and you gave a lived example or experience that we are having in the northern part of this Kenya that includes extrajudicial killings and even illegal sort of abductions, and that the role that this organization, human rights organization and institution play is just to bring about justice and fight for their rights and give them equal opportunity when it comes to accessing justice and going the right channel as per the legislation, the rules, the laws, and everything of the nation. So I really appreciate that. And maybe now to move to Mr. Dennis. I know that you are involved with youth from Young African Leaders Foundation, Africa Young Leaders Foundation. Maybe tell us how can these young people like yourself, like me, and many others can use different mediums, let's say, for example, social media or any others, including such mediums such as this one that we are on, the Ordinary Voices, and other civil society organizations where they collaborate to advance SDG 16 in African communities. What do you think is the best way to go about in using different mediums to advance SDG 16?
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Lalia, for that question. I mean, there's been that urge on collaboration, which is very key for the many youth groups that we have, and I think we need to still work on that within our continent. But now on the mediums that we have, for example, at YALF we have a policy paper or a journal that we usually publish every 4 years. Right now we are on volume 5. So what we usually do is request or make a call for the many young people within our continent to be able to put very good, well-researched, well-versed, or well-lived experiences within their communities and put them into very good policy papers that can be able to be to be implemented within their communities or within specific countries. And then after that, we consolidate everything all together, and then we put the recommendations to the African Union, the big body that now can be able to maybe tell a country like Kenya, hey, we have something put here by the young people. Could you really check on it? Or they take it maybe to Somalia or Djibouti or South Africa. All those, that's part of what we can be able to continually do and keep on collaborating to doing. What we're actually doing right now here is also part of what the many organizations need to keep on doing. We need to keep on, let them say we're making noise, but let them acknowledge we are making the noise. As in, as much as they are acknowledging that we are making the noise, then the voice is being heard. So part of that, and then making those short clips, whether on LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, or whatever, let them make those short clips over there. The young people doing the comedy is part of that education, because part of doing all that, let them also integrate that in the comedy. Let them see putting the message clearly there, like what you guys are doing on maybe on football, acknowledging that is part of putting those rebels on football kits as well, would be part of enhancing the SDG 16 and the many other SDGs, but particularly on peace and inclusion is part of all that. I mean, there's so many vast opportunities that we have at our disposal to be able to take advantage of and be able to make the voice really get to the right individuals. So, I mean, having the social media and the phones with us, it makes the works easier for us to be able to put the message across. So, I mean, it's for us to be able to show up, display, and being able to put the message clearly out there. They need to be able to hear the message, and that's what we have to do with all that we have over here. So for collaboration, there's so much that you can be able to do. I mean, like in Milan's group, I mean, we would be really available to be able to peace building and inclusive societies over there. What the ordinary voices are doing here is all part of the collaborations that we keeping on advancing. So there's no lone leisure on this journey. So if you're lone leisure, you will maybe they will do something and then you will be forgotten. But if we're all together, it makes our access easier. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dennis, for that. I like the fact that you emphasized on the use of different online mediums. You mentioned even social media platforms that can be used for good and for bringing about sensitization, awareness, and even seeking collaboration. What I like the most is the fact that what YALF is doing is all about young people bringing about policy papers that goes up to big institutions or organizations such as African Union. And in a way, though it is in the background and unseen part of these policies, young people are seen to be influencing because they go out there, find what actually is the need in our societies, and then write it up so that the organizations and the bodies that actually implement these policies are able to uptake them and implement it. I like that, and I really commend that. I really hope many of us are able to do that and continue with it in different arenas. Before that, you reminded me of something. You mentioned what Global Youth Forum does with football. Just last weekend, we had the inter-county football tournament in Mombasa, and I would like to commend for the volunteers and those people who are able to show up, different organizations, different individuals, and even the teams that actually participated in that. What happens is that every team comes representing an SDG, and they come with a project or a something that they are supposed to go and implement in their own community and bring about changes that are sustainable in nature and that can be uptaken by the society moving forward. So I'd like to give shout out to those who attended the event, to those who participated as the teams, the organizing party, the partners, and everyone. And then from our online and live session, individuals such as Caleb, who are actively participating, Josephine, shout out to you, and so on and so forth. Now, before I go back to my guests, maybe we have Austin in the house. Do you have anything to add to us when it comes to this discussion? What's your thought when it comes to SDG 16 in general? Maybe tell us something about that. Austin? You could be speaking, but you are muted and you are off the camera. In case it's not working at the moment, we reserve an opportunity for you to speak in a moment or so. Okay, as we wait for him. Okay, now I can see the. Okay, go ahead, Austin.
Okay, being my first day here in this meeting, I'm following up the conversation, and I'm really learning a lot. So just continue doing the good work, and together we can achieve the goals of the 16 SDGs. So let's just continue. I'm following up, and next time I'll have a good talk concerning all this.
Thank you, Austin, and I also like to acknowledge the fact that we appreciate you as Global Youth Forum team by being part of the media team for our events on the SDG tournaments last weekend. We really appreciate that and the fact that you are following and would like this to continue to greater level. So maybe now getting back to my guests, sorry, I want to ask something like you are both in the field. Now you could take chances to answer this one at a time. They are addressed to both of you. All of you, like the two of you, are in the field that is pro peace, justice, and strong social institution. So maybe tell us what are challenges that still hinder the realization of peace, justice, and strong institutions, particularly in developing countries like Kenya and any other African nations. And what solution would you propose to some of these challenges that we face when it comes to peace, justice, and strong institutions?
Maybe I'll go ahead of Dennis, my brother.
Yes.
Some of the challenges we have is really limited resources. You find that a lot of organizations or young people or programs are really curated to build peace, promote community resilience, cohesion, and prosperity. But at the end of the day, where money or finances are not really available, then there is financial constraint to benefit these communities or do tangible, scalable, sustainable community projects. So that's the first thing. Number two, I will say that many social setups across Africa have the challenge of excluding the young people and women in this process, especially in promoting peace and community development. You find that young people and especially women are secondary to the community dialogues when it comes to resource sharing, building peace, or generally even having the seat at the table where these decisions and discussions are happening. So that is quite a hindrance when it comes to really scaling these programs as well. And if I look into the solutions, I will say that young people and women really have to be bold enough to take up their space and not wait for anybody to come and help them. You see, Dennis will probably say the same thing, but my journey has always been of personal initiative. I've never had any tangible support from anybody to come and invite me to the table. I've always desired to be meaningfully and intentionally into these spaces, and that has really allowed me to get noticed and get into these spaces because I was intentional. I always desired to be at the table. I had contributions to make. And you see, if every community, young people and women step up and speak their mind, contribute their ideas, and be bold enough to come into these spaces and occupy their rightful seat, then we will have a community that is empowered, enlightened, and included in these processes. So I think to achieve inclusivity, we really have to be go-getters ourselves as young people and women, and intentionally occupy these spaces and demand our rights, demand our seat, demand, our fair share of resources, so that we don't always fold our hands and blame authorities and community leaders and political class and the elite for mistreating us. Sometimes I think the challenge is with us as well, for not being bold enough, for not stepping up, for not coming into these spaces.
Thank you very much, Mr. Imran. I like the fact that you said it should start with us, come again as a solution. As challenges, I believe one of the main one you highlighted is the insufficiency when it comes to funds. A lot needs to be done when it comes to peace, justice, and strong institution, but then the funding is stretched and it is not enough to cover all that is needed to cover. I think that is well placed and well explained. I also like the fact that you said we need to be go-getters. I want to echo a statement or a phrase that one of my friends and very close colleague likes to use. She normally says, you go into a room and when you are denied a table, bring your own table into that room. That's what she says. So in the situations where that we feel the youth and women are maybe exempted, like he said, we become go-getters and bring ourselves to those spaces so that we are included, our opinions and our needs are taken care of, captured, and we contribute to creating empowerment that enables us to create peaceful coexistence, inclusion, justice, and strong institutions for ourselves. Now, maybe to you, Mr. Dennis, would you have something to add when it comes to other forms of challenges, as well as solutions to challenges when it comes to fulfillment of SDG 16?
Okay, thank you. I mean, it is an irony when we see government fund wars, but they cannot fund for peace. So the first thing would be on the issue of governance. We should be raising questions on the issue of governance as a major challenge for us to be able to achieve the peace and prosperity that we need within our communities. But looking at that, the solutions or the good intentions, again, must come to the common citizen or the citizenry, the citizens in general, being able to be very decisive on the goal leadership that they want within their governance systems, so that we can be able to have people who are making the right decisions within their settings of the government for peace within their communities. And then just echoing what Imran said, I mean, when you get to sit with many youth-led organizations, the question on lack of finances will always be there, and I mean, the challenge is usually on us as well. We've been having the same challenges here, but I like what Tim Lana said, that is really taking up the spaces. For example, within us as an organization, we usually fundraise within ourselves. We haven't also been able to get, in as much as we're dealing with a very large population, much of our programs, everything we call ourselves into order and tell ourselves, in as much as these individuals that we want them to be able to contribute on this are not coming on board, what can we be able to do as Dennis, as Laria, or as someone else within our setting? And then once we're able to do that, then everything else comes into order. But what we ought to do is we have to keep on pressing on what is necessary to be done by the institutions that are mandated to do so, and press them let us keep doing what we ought to do as individuals, as organizations, as young people, and the other matters should be able to come to under. But one other thing that we've been looking on this issue on resources is on collaboration on with so many other young groups or youth-led organizations that are doing the same thing. If the many youth-led organizations that are doing almost the similar thing come up all together and put that a cup, a plate, the one with a spoon, the one with a thermos, they put them all together, then we'll be able to have a very good feast for that matter to be able to be achieved. So, I mean, let the so many youth-led organizations that are doing the same thing, when it comes to a certain goal that needs to be achieved within a set timeline, then I mean we can always come together and do that. So the other thing is for us to keep on determined. I mean, it's just the determine and the discipline as well. And going back to the question on governance, can we be able to be accountable within our settings as well and have transparent institutions so that all the other things on peace, inclusion will always come. Once within our governance systems, we are accountable and then we are a transparent institution. I mean, we'll be able to solve so many lot of things. So, I mean, that's my contribution on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dennis. I think you put on some strong emphasis when it comes to solutions that these challenges that we face have. I like the fact that you said when we have challenges such as financial strains, we should look at other ways of actually making these implementation of those projects or activities come true. You mentioned internal fundraising, and that is one of the things that due to the shifts that non-governmental organization is facing when it comes to funding, then we should think in ways that this organization can actually sustain their own activities, their own projects, and implement them to attain even sustainability level. Thank you very much for that. And also I like the fact that you crowned it with the need to have accountable and transparent institution, especially when it comes to leadership and governance, so that some of these things are even well known to the society and they can make collective decision to result into peace, justice, and strong institution. Thank you very much. Before I give you an opportunity of using 1 minute to give us your call to action as youth leaders and even call to all intergenerations, I want to put something across here. At Global Youth Forum, one of the things that we are actually doing is, as we see in our screen, is the billion ball signature, that is the Kenyan tour of 2026, where we're looking at raising funds to support grassroots sports movement that is actually geared towards delivering sustainable development goals. I believe up to this juncture that because we deal with a lot of SDGs, we do know that we are in the year 2026, but only about 18% of SDG fulfillment is what is on track. So if we enable grassroots sports teams and any other grassroots levels, then we are adding to the fulfillment percentage of these SDGs and we will be moving in the right direction. So let's also take a look at that and be aware of it. Now for our closure, I'd like both of you to take a minute, just give us a call to action when it comes to youth and all the citizens or any other person in the global space who is listening, watching, and actually interested in SDGs, especially SDG 16.
Well, if I go first, my call to action will be partnerships and collaboration with the youth-led organizations, women-led organizations in terms of scaling their impact at their community level. I want organizations, funders and donors and partners outside there to come together and provide more resources to youth and women-led organizations, to provide more technical support to youth and women-led organizations, to provide capacity building for youth-led and women organizations to scale their impact in their communities. And in the event that there are no funds available because of the shifting trends in donor-funded programming, I want to reiterate what my brother Dennis Munene said. Young people should be able to collaborate amongst themselves in creating more impact, in supporting each other, in scaling and learning from each other. So I call for partnerships and collaborations to youth-led and women-led organizations. I thank you.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate that. I like the fact that both of you are insisting on the need for synergies when it comes to aligning these as different organization or grassroots levels and then moving together by even merging the resources that we have. Thank you, Mr. Imran, for that. And now to you, Mr. Dennis, your 1 minute for call to action to the youth and everyone across the globe.
Thank you so much. Develop effective, accountable and transparent institutions. Then we'll have resolved all the issues that we are speaking about today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dennis. That's a bit quite straightforward that he says we should fight for accountability and transparency in our governments and institutions so that we move past speaking about the need to have them. Because if we are accountable, transparent, and even all this, then we would have prevented us from reaching there. So thank you very much. Mine is to appreciate all of you for honoring our invite. For those of us who've been following online and for those of us who've been with us here in the room listening and contributing. Appreciation to all of you and looking forward to discuss with you in different arenas and work with you in different areas. So thank you very much. And I appreciate
Thank you for having us. Thank you for having us. Thank you.